Hi, I'm Haja Dalwal. I'm a product marketing manager for Windows Commercial at Microsoft. I'm speaking with IT professionals to get a different perspective on Windows 11, to share his thoughts, experiences, and some learnings of Windows 11. Here's an IT pro, Nick Brattoli. Welcome, Nick.
Hi, like Harjit said, my name is Nick Brattoli. I am a partner and principal consultant at a company called 365 Consulting, with the numbers spelled out. We are a consulting firm for Microsoft cloud products like SharePoint, Teams, and all of the other ones within Office 365 and Microsoft 365.
So it's good to have you. So let's start talking about Windows 11, right? So Windows 11 was announced back about a year ago and went GA in October last year. So what's your perspective on Windows 11? Like, how soon did you start using it? What did you discover, and where are you at with it today?
Sure. So I personally started using it pretty early on. I'm a member of the Windows Insider program, so I've been going with early versions of Windows since Windows 8, I believe. And so I've been messing with Windows 11 for a while. Now, on an actual production environment, I have started using it on some of my devices. I just recently got a Surface Laptop Studio, which is pretty nice. And some of the people on my team are also starting to adopt Windows 11. Additionally, some of my customers are starting to roll it out too, due to lots of the great features that are out there now.
Amazing. So what's your experience like with your new Surface laptop?
So I upgraded from the Surface Book, the old version. I've had it for about 7 years, and it was great. And so I wanted to use another Surface device. And I saw that this one was coming out basically to do all of the same stuff that the older model was doing. And so I picked it up. It is way more powerful. It works really well when I'm on the road. So I like to travel, and I need something that has some power that I can just even hook up to a hotel TV and have that as a second monitor, and it's worked really well for that.
Do you have any, for example, tips and tricks or things like that for IT professionals in terms of using, managing, and helping their users or their people with Windows 11?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different pieces to it. There is a way to organically adopt it, which I think is very useful as you bring in new users to your organization, or as older devices go out. You can bring in the new devices and start upgrading. That is a good tip to gently push adoption instead of trying to force it upon users. That can cause issues. But as far as tips and tricks go, there's lots of neat management stuff now. There's a lot of cloud integrations that Windows 10 was starting to do a little bit, but not fully baked yet. And so now Windows 11 has all of those that are very helpful to manage it, like Endpoint Manager, where you can manage your devices and your patches. And there's so many different things you can do with it. Config Lock is another one that's come out recently in Windows 11 that's really cool, where you can kind of lock your devices down and not have to worry about your users causing issues down the road. So there's a lot of neat tips and tricks that I'm still learning about as I get with it, but I think that adoption one is a very important one.
Yeah, you hit the nail right there with Config Lock, which is not something that's talked about a lot by IT pros, but it's definitely a security feature to lock down, settings and configurations from being tampered by, the end user, right? So that's pretty neat. So in terms of I know you talked about Windows Insider program before. Is that something you would recommend IT pros to start working with Windows 11 and getting, what's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you are a specialist in this area, if you are in charge of the rollouts of Windows, you should definitely know what's coming ahead of time. The Insider program is really good about that. Microsoft also has other programs for their other products that I recommend getting into as an IT pro. That's not what we're talking about today, but they're out there. I would recommend joining all of them if you can.
And then going back to your customers, right? So your customers are obviously, using your company to, implement and execute Microsoft solutions, such as you mentioned, Endpoint Manager and of course Windows 11. What are you hearing from them, from their leadership and their IT departments about Windows 11 and where they're headed with this?
So it depends on the organization. Now, a lot of them, especially the ones that are more security focused, like healthcare, finance, some government even, or government adjacent more likely, is they care a lot about security, and they were kind of hesitant to go into the cloud earlier, largely because of security issues and just not having the integrations that are around these days. And so the ones that are interested and are more concerned about security are now starting to dip their toe into going into the cloud and getting into the modern versions of Windows, because now there are all those security controls there that are actually stronger than some of the things you can do on-prem in a lot of situations.
Well said. Well said. Yes, the security features of Windows 11, which is on by default compared to the previous version, is definitely the key points of using it. Especially now with Windows Insider program, there's a new build that just came out to help you with brute force attempts, right? To and all that stuff. So that's a lot of new things coming out, a lot of great stuff, a lot of really security hardening, and that you mentioned. With that said, so any advice on tools that you recommend as you're working with customers and IT departments on managing Windows 11 or upgrading to Windows 11 and keeping them secure?
Yeah, so there's a lot of tools inside Microsoft 365 that are focused on this. I mentioned Endpoint Manager earlier, but Endpoint Manager is actually a lot of stuff together. It's not just one thing, right? It's got Intune for your cloud stuff, and then you've got your on-prem side of things as well, and it handles all of that. But then when you dive deeper into all of those, you've got things like Windows Autopilot that a lot of my customers like to use for their new devices. When you onboard someone, you get a device with everything on it that's supposed to be set up, right? And that's been something that's been done historically in a lot of places, but they've always had to do it themselves. Like IT always had to ghost a computer. I don't know if you're an IT pro, that probably just made you cringe. So there's a lot of those things inside the cloud to give you more centralized management. And again, Endpoint Manager, Intune, Azure itself has a lot of different pieces inside Azure Active Directory and Azure Information Protection. I mean, all of it kind of integrates into Windows 11 now. So there's a lot of different pieces that you will have to learn during this journey.
I think you nailed it right there with the integrations from the hardware, software to the cloud with Windows 11. Fantastic information right there. All right, so lastly, if you have someone comes up to you, an IT professional or a customer, and say, "Hey, can you tell us why we should go to Windows 11?"
That's a great question. So as a cloud first person, and our company we consider it born in the cloud, the integrations are very important to me, not just because of things like OneDrive sync, where if your device gets lost or stolen, you have all of your data, but just all of the security pieces are worth it for me. I also, from a personal perspective, like to have a nice clean environment, and the search features and the new app experience within Windows 11 is cleaner and quicker to access some of the things that I access commonly. That has been one of my favorite things from a personal IT pro perspective. From an organizational perspective, it's that centralized management is the biggest thing for sure, because it's not just the things we mentioned, it's down to the hardware level of the things that are kind of locked down in Windows 11 that you don't have in any other operating system. That's
amazing feedback. That's great feedback from all angles that you just mentioned there. Nick, it's been a pleasure. You and I both have worked on the Ignite scenes before, as community experts and specialists. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being here, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.